How many times have you beaten this clown anyway?
3.
Really? Only 3? Funny. Seemed like more.
Hello, everybody. Max Scoville and Jonathan Dornbush here to talk about the return of a familiar face. I am talking about Crash Bandicoot. He's back, baby. Jonathan, what's up with Crash 4?
Well, it's about time is actually both applicable to this game happening and the subtitle of the game. Yeah, so Activision announced Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, which is canonically set as a game after Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, which happened all the way on the original PlayStation. So this picks up from the story that happened in that game, because at the end of that game, Crash trapped Neo Cortex and some of the other villains basically out of time. They were transported back to being babies and trapped. And so this game picks up after that happened, and Neo Cortex is back and causing time-related mayhem, and it's up to Crash and Coco to help stop that from happening.
Okay, so I have a lot of questions right out the gate, but let's sort of back things up. Who's making this?
So this is actually being made by Toys for Bob. So the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy was developed by Vicarious Visions, who's working on the Tony Hawk remakes, but Toys for Bob worked on the Spyro Reignited trilogy. I believe that was 2 years ago, last year. I don't know how time works, but that makes sense for this game. They worked on that trilogy, and so this is their next release. They did actually, contribute to the development of the Crash Team Racing remake and the Insane trilogy. So it's not like Crash is uncharted territory for them.
No, that sounds like it's definitely in good hands. Now, mechanically, how different is this going to be from those Crash Bandicoot games that came out over 20 years ago?
So it's built from the ground up. This is, they're not basing it on old code necessarily or anything like that. This is something that Toys for Bob is building from scratch as a brand new proper game. And so it's meant to definitely feel like that. I spoke with one of the developers on the game, and they were very adamant about, in their minds, Crash is all about precision and timing and really those difficult platforming challenges that you face. And so they're keeping the spirit of those original games, and there's going to be, the same perspectives we're used to, either running away from or toward the camera, side-scrolling platforming, all that sort of thing. But there will be new gameplay tricks that Crash has. There will be wall running, rail grinding, and a few other things that come into play, including 4 new masks that will give Crash different powers.
But yeah, so they're basically kind of sticking with the same, not really on rails formula, but the same kind of loop that we're used to.
Yeah, the original 3 games, there have been later Crash games that happened that tried to open things up a little bit. This is not going open world. This is not changing the formula from these 3 games. It's very much, them saying this is Crash Bandicoot 4 is meant to evoke, hey, this is within the spirit of those 3 games. It just is coming 20 years later.
Okay, so it's kind of like a Sonic Mania type of thing. They're taking the classic formula and modernizing it with a few new bells and whistles, but kind of staying within that original style guide.
Yeah, pretty much. It's as I was saying, they built the gameplay from the ground up. It's a new art style, so it's not the Insane trilogy art style. It's a bit more cartoony. It seems almost more in line with the Reignited trilogy for Spyro, which they did, which I personally loved the art design of that. It was like a children's beautiful fantasy art book brought to life. So I totally trust them to do that with Crash, especially because this game is going to go to so many different time periods. I think they'll be able to play with the scenery a lot in really fun ways.
I was going to ask, do we know, has it been 22 years in Crash's universe, or does this pick up immediately where the other one lives off?
Well, so time has definitely passed, because at the end of 3, Cortex was an engine and the other enemies were babies. So they're back to being adults in this game. So time has definitely passed. And in the reveal trailer, there's even a joke of man, so you only fought these guys 3 times? I thought that happened so many other times, of course, nodding to all these other adventures that happened. But at least canonically, from what they've told us, it's, jumping from 3 to now this. I wouldn't be surprised if there's nods to all those games, because even though I think everything after that original Crash trilogy isn't as beloved as those first 3 games, there are still fans of a lot of what's been done in those games. So they'll probably have some nods, if I had to guess.
Nice. Well, it's like I said, it's good to see a familiar face. It's Crash Bandicoot, man. He's a lovable rascal in jean shorts. What's not to like? And this is coming out later this year. This is in October.
Yeah, it's coming to current-gen consoles. They didn't talk about, next-gen plans yet, but obviously Xbox One games, it will be Xbox Series X compatible and playable there with backward compatibility, but no word on PS5 or Xbox Series X proper versions yet.
Nice. Well, it seems like it's in pretty good hands, and I'm dying to see that old Bandicoot back in action.
wow, as he would say. Yeah, it looks like a really fun first look, and I really trust that Toys for Bob team after the Reignited trilogy. So it should be a fun new thing to like finally have a proper within the spirit of that original trilogy new adventure.
I'm still holding out for the photorealistic simulation Bandicoot game, but I guess that'll have to wait a little bit.
That's
Anyway,
what next gen is for.
For more on Crash Bandicoot and his unstoppable legacy, keep it right here on IGN.